Hi, my name's Ed Garner. I'm from Maumelle, Arkansas, which is close by to Fort Smith. And I'm 63 years old, and I'm very passionate about air guns, and I would like to be the next competitor in the Airgunner Challenge this year. So one of the questions that was asked was, how many air guns do you have? Well, I've got them lined up by me here to go through them. I've got 7, and they all are great, and they do different things. So how long have I been air gunning? Probably since I was 10 or 11. I bought my first air gun, which was a Crossman 760 Pumpmaster, when they first came out in 1967 or 68. I think I paid $24 for it. I made $1.50 a week at a paper route, and I did some odd jobs, and I finally got the thing paid off. I put it on layaway. Finally got the thing paid off, and I had a prized possession. I would shoot hundreds and hundreds of rounds, or BBs and pellets, and I got to the point where I could sit on the back stoop, and at about 20 yards I could light matches. But I was passionate about an air gun then. Hours and hours on the stoop. I did a little bit of hunting, but I finally broke it. I broke it several times in the lever arm. I pumped it so many times. It broke right here. I'm using another gun as an example. I broke it right here, and we welded it, got it welded, and we had to weld it 3 times. And finally, the guy at the welding shop said, "There's just nothing I can do with this metal anymore, you know." So we disposed of the gun. I hate that. I probably today I could have sent it off to get it fixed. But so not long after that, my father bought me a Sheridan 20 caliber air rifle. This is an awesome gun. This one was made in 1969, and I became a full-fledged hunter with this gun. I grew up in the Delta, so rabbits and squirrels. And a few birds, a few pest birds, but I don't know how many packs of pellets I put through this, but I used this gun until my young adulthood. In fact, the best shot I ever made for all air guns was made with this gun. I hit a squirrel in the head at 75 yards. If you know this gun, that's damn near a miracle. Anyway, it was very impressive because it was in front of somebody whose house was getting eaten up with squirrels, and at the far end of the property, one of them was running along the fence, and when it stopped, I stopped him. I'll never forget that shot. I acted as though it was no big deal, and it was something I could do anytime I wanted to. And my friend was very impressed. Talked about it for quite a long time. The next gun I got was actually a little different. We couldn't have 22s because rifles are more dangerous for young kids, but we could have an air rifle, and my father thought that a shotgun was more appropriate, so we got shotguns to hunt with, and to train for shooting a shotgun, he bought us this. This is a Daisy Model 95, and it's part of the Daisy Quick Skill program, which was derived from the military program, which was called Quick Kill. The gun has no sights. It came with 2 aluminum discs, large and small, and your partner would throw the disc into the air, and you would learn to shoot by simply looking at the top of the disc or looking at the top of the target, and your spot weld came up every time, same way every time, and you looked at the target, not at the gun. And so we got good enough at that well, we got smaller and smaller discs and washers, and a little later I'll show you this gun. I still use this gun. This gun will shoot a bear. So later on in the video, that'll be my contribution. I'll shoot a bear with this gun. As I became an adult, I bought my first major acquisition because I had become enthralled with Theobin air rifles for years, and I bought this initially. This is a raw rapid air weapons TM1000, and it's been heavily modified, but I bought the gun because I have a garden and there are pests in the garden, and I got a silencer built onto it and it was tuned, and the silencer, this full-length shroud silencer and tune job was done by Alan Zazadny in Ohio, and he is a great craftsman. So the gun was heavily modified, titanium sleeve taken off, the trigger was modified, the hammer was modified. This gun will shoot, I've got it tuned right now at 20 foot-pounds to be able to do hunter field target, but I also compete in silhouette. In silhouette, actually, the attention to silhouette took over any kind of varmint hunting in the garden, and most of my time is spent practicing in our little home range for silhouette. So this gun, very proud of it, very nice. I bought it from Airguns of Arizona used. It's one of the original TM1000s from I think Martin Rutherford. I think his name is Rutherford. Absolutely great gun. It will make a ragged hole at 36 yards, one hole. And so on a bench anyway, not my silhouette shooting, but on a bench it'll make a ragged hole at 36 yards. And is whisper quiet. You can't hear it. In fact, it's got a little air in it. You'll hear the hammer, but you won't hear the air pop. There you go. Anyway, great gun. It's got a scope on it. It's set up for field target, but I also use it in silhouette. The next gun I got, because, there are 3 classifications for silhouette competition, one of them being a Springer, and I wanted to get a Springer. I don't have unlimited resources, but I saw a air rifle online, the scope that was going for less than the value of the scope, which was a nice Hawk Sidewinder was on this gun. So I bought the gun, and this is a Beeman RX2. Now this has got a Theobin gas ram in it. When I bought it, it didn't look anything like this. This has been modified as well. In fact, I don't use it for silhouette. It was too heavy and I couldn't shoot it. I mean, it packs a wallop. It had bad stippling on it. Anyway, I redid everything, hauled out the stock trying to make weight for the silhouette rules, put scope on it, and I finally got it sanded down and cleaned up and re-stained in teak, and pretty gun, but still too heavy and really hard to shoot. Back then it was hard to shoot. So this became my rat gun for the garden, and from one of my guns I had a carbon fiber moderator, so I put that on here, and so this thing is quiet and shoots a 22 caliber pellet, and it packs a wallop. I shoot Crossman Premiers at it, and put an ATN night scope on it with a couple of supernovas. ATN has been wonderful in supporting me, as because I broke a mount or whatever, but they went through this thing will light up the neighborhood, and man, it will dispatch a rat with extreme prejudice. So I've learned to shoot this gun, and my artillery hold technique has done a lot better. But for competition at silhouette, I went on to another air gun, and that was, you can tell I like wood, an Air Arms TX200, and beautiful wood. I bought a Pro Sport at first, but when I saw this gun, I swapped it out. And so this is my this is my Springer competition gun. RWS, kudos to them. I broke there was a screw broken off of the mount on that RX2, and I tried to buy a screw for it so they don't sell individual components. They just sent me a new mount. And I said, well, no, wait a minute. This is a used mount that I got. I bought, didn't matter. They sent me a new mount. So I want to tell you, everything I've done in air gunning, the customer support from RWS, from Hawk Scopes, from Air Venturi, everybody has been top notch. And that's one thing about air gunning that I really appreciate, not only with the vendors, but the people who compete, everybody I've met. It's a great experience. So it's just the quality of people involved, really. Anyway, my TX200, I did much better with the artillery hold with this, shooting a Springer. And in fact, my high score in silhouette, which is not all that impressive to anyone but me, but my high score in silhouette is with this Springer. It's an awesome gun. And a 22, Air Arms TX200 22 will smack silhouette targets with authority. The last category, oh, come here, is 10 meter target rifle. And I bought a fine work bow, FWB 300. Now this isn't the 300S, this is the precursor to that. This is a fine work bow 300 with a Tyrolean stock. And I have to tell you, of all the nice guns that I have, this gun makes me smile more often than not. I won't cock it because you shouldn't discharge these things without a pellet in it. My wife frowns on me putting holes in the ceiling. But this thing ratchets down. It is a well-engineered machine. You know, it doesn't have a lot of power, and in silhouette we shoot out as far as 45 yards, so you can actually see the pellet drop 4 or 5 inches at that distance. Feet per second is probably, I think the last time I measured it was like 650 maybe, something like that. But I probably shoot this gun more than anything. It's just I painted a moderator off of one of the titanium barrels that we took off of the raw, so it's got a moderator on the end. I took the muzzle brake off and put a moderator on, so it's pretty quiet, backyard quiet, and with a nice Hawk Air Max scope on it. And it makes me grin because as in the 60s this came out and was banned from Olympic competition because it was such an advance. This gun, the mechanism of this gun slides like a howitzer. So you have a spring moving one direction, the howitzer action of the receiver sliding back cuts down on the typical Springer or even Ram recoil, and it just makes it a very accurate gun. So for years this was banned from competition, and when they finally allowed it, it dominated for several years. A lot of guns were made to emulate this kind of action, but I got to tell you, the engineering on this is just spectacular, and it helps to have a really slow pellet. You can see that thing fly, and you learn to follow through and call your shot, and that's been one of the things that's really improved my shooting dramatically. And it's just pretty wood, and it's comfortable, and I like it a lot. So this is actually my favorite gun. So another gun that I bought just for the scope, but the guy said, make me a price, please, dude. And I didn't intend or need another gun, but everything I originally intended to hunt with, I was competing with. So another favorite gun of mine, underneath this camo tape is a beautiful walnut Wyrock HW100 with the fill tank, and I pulled the, you can see the little fill tank on the end. This was also sent off to Alan Zadney, who tuned the barrel and tuned the gun, tuned the hammer, and built this moderator here. And so this thing shoots, I shoot JSB Hades in a 22, and it's got a Hawk Sidewinder scope on it. It's the only gun I've got that has a clip, and this will put, I think I've shot and will put a picture on, if I can edit it, I put a picture on of what this thing can do at 45 yards, shoot an entire clip and make it fairly, I think it's about 3/8 of an inch at 45 yards. With Hades, which you give up a tiny bit of accuracy, but this is a squirrel killing machine. I've forgotten the name of the guy who built this leather for it. The plate, because I refused to put a screw into the wood, there's a silver plate on here that was designed for the butt of the gun by a guy in England. He did a great job. I put it on the hold for the strap. Great gun, a lot of fun. My second best shot was with this gun. However, it was at 8 yards. 8 yards. And the reason it was a great shot is that it was a squirrel running right at me, full speed, on a log, and I got the shot, and I'm looking through the scope, and the squirrel got as big as a wall, and shot him right in the head at 8 yards. And so I think I'll start a vlog and call it Ed's Hold Way the Heck Over, because I just maxed the holdover on the scope out and pulled the trigger, and you know, anyway, hard shot. Shoot something at 8 yards with a scope like that on there. Anyway, it's a great gun. This, I've forgotten the name, this camo tape, but it has a little bit of tack to it. It doesn't stick to the gun. Highly recommended for hunting. And I have put this down in the woods and walked away, and had to spend a little bit of time retracing my steps to find it, because they'll see me before they see the gun. Okay, that's my range of guns, and like I said, I think my favorite is probably the old Finework Val 300. Okay, so it's time to go shoot, and like I promised, I'm going to go shoot a bear with my Daisy Model 95, no sights, and I haven't shot this gun in maybe 40 years, if that. So I didn't have any BBs. I want to tell you something. I went and bought some Daisy BBs at a very well-known store, and I had almost had an incident. I was tempted to have an incident. You know, they asked for my ID. They asked for my ID to buy BBs. Now, that's just wrong. I thought about that, and I went and looked at online at the store policy, and they considered this ammunition. They took these BBs out of a locked case. And I wanted to put a little bug in your brain. I thought later, I was very mad. I told the young lady that I thought it was sick, that you would card somebody for BBs. And you know, this is Arkansas. We don't do this. Anyway, I left the store. I wish I had just left all my purchases there and left, but I really wanted to get this done, you know. So, but I got home and I thought, you know, think of this. You could be a 20-year-old decorated U.S. Marine, and they would not sell you, this store would not sell you these BBs because you weren't 21. 21, you got to be 21 to buy BBs for a BB gun. I would submit things have gone a little too far, and we have to get more people involved in air gunning, especially youth, because they've lost their right. I could have been 6 years old when I was growing up and gone and bought BBs. So You know, we need to encourage more involvement, especially, and the best place to start is air gunning, just like I did, and most of you may have started and gotten your first air gun, your Red Ryder, avoided shooting your eye out. But things are changing, and our rights need to be exercised or we're going to lose them. And we need to teach others to exercise their rights responsibly or they will lose them. Daisy BBs, you have to be 21 to buy them in this store. That's food for thought. Okay, I'm going to go shoot a bear. A bear.
So I warmed up shooting peppermints where I could hit, I'd say, about 3 out of 10. And then I went on to shooting bear. And I think you can guess by now the species of bear that I'm shooting is a bear aspirin. A lot harder than I remember. You'll see I changed my technique to holding with the trigger hand, and it works out in the end.
So I looked at this. It's not very dramatic. I don't know if you can see it, but it wasn't enough to move it, but it did take the edge off. So we're looking for a full bust here. That's what we're looking for. So the difficulty, well, other than it's extremely small, is that throwing it up yourself, you can't throw an aspirin and make it dwell in the air long enough to get your spot weld on it and shoot. So it's really the fastest thing you can possibly do. This is normally done with a thrower so that you can get ready, but to have one hand on the BB gun, you know, there's a lot of excuses. Let me shoot.
This has been edited for your benefit. In all honesty, I think I probably got about 40 attempts at.
That exploded on camera. Okay, I know you saw that my RX2 with my homemade carbon fiber moderator on there. This actually came off of the HW100 when I got it, and since Zadney built a moderator for that, much better moderator, I put this on my my rat killing gun. You probably wonder, well, how does that do? So I thought it's removable. I made it so it's removable. So I thought, well, I'll do it with and without. First off, here you go. Shooting a JSB Hades into the wood pile. I'm shooting from indoors because we have thunderstorms and tornado watch out. So here you go. All right, into the wood pile. This is with the moderator. Go, pretty good. Okay, now taking the moderator off, reload. As you can see, it's quite a difference.
A man once told me what he thought it took to be a champion, field target champion. And he was a champion. He gave up coffee because of the caffeine. And on the day before a match, he would drive to the area and find a pond and wade out into the pond and shiver violently until he couldn't shiver anymore. He said, If he exhausted his muscles, it helped him not shake on the target. And on the day of the competition, he would forego lunch. He said, the blood flowing to the digestive organs robbed his muscles of oxygen. Think of that. The level of commitment, the dedication. And when I heard that, I realized deep in my soul that I might never be a contender. I may never be a contender. I might always be a pellet-lobbing bum, which is what I am. But I resolved that day that I would always be a competitor. A competitor. Because when you peel back the layers of the onion of the human experience, we all have this, every one of us. And you peel back layer after layer after layer, we all have to be competitors. And when you get to the very center of it all, you'll find it's still a damn onion. I don't apologize for the video. Huh? Oh. Hey, Jenny! The damn dog's out again.
Okay, well, I've had a lot of fun making this and a lot of fun going back over my experience with air guns. And I guess I want to end the video with why would I make a great competitor on the Airgunner challenge? I shoot better than I video. I think that I'm an average guy, and the market for average guys getting into air gunning is wide open, and I think someone to represent the average guy is important. I'm from Arkansas. You're not going to be out a lot of bucks getting me to Fort Smith. I might eat you out of house and home, though. I'm very passionate about air gunning. I would be a good competitor, at least. I might not be a contender, but I'd be a competitor because I've used many types of air guns. And so I think that's an important point. And my focus is silhouette shooting, which is offhand with no support, no jackets, no slings, no boots, nothing except your body. And that's got to be one of the most challenging events, to shoot silhouette. It's very humbling. I've worked very hard at it. I'm getting better. I'm a long way from getting a master class. I'm just trying to move up. But the skill that you develop to shoot offhand silhouette in competition, I think I would make a good competitor. I don't do a lot of bench rest, and I don't want to put down bench rest because it's a lot of fun, but I use bench rest basically to tune the equipment and set the ballistics, etc. That I shoot out to 45 yards. That 10-meter rifle at 45 yards is moving so slow that if we've got a 5-mile-an-hour wind, you're looking at 3 to 4 inches of drift. So I think versus shooting a 100-yard heavier bore rifle at 4 or 5 inches. It all pretty well equates. I think I'd be very competitive. I've shot the high power PCPs out to 100 yards and kept them inside of an inch. So the HW100 will put them in an inch on a still day. Put them in an inch at 100 yards. So I compete in small bore silhouette 22 at 100 yards, 100 meters. So the pellet rifle won't quite do what that Anschutz will do, but I do shoot longer distance. Anyway, I think I would really enjoy it. You won't find anyone with greater passion for air guns, and so anyway, I look forward to meeting some of these folks at Fort Smith. Thanks.